Our tradition teaches, whether with the term Kol Yisrael or Evim Zelazeh, everyone's responsible for one another. Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa, do not stand idly by when your brother's blood is spilled. We are taught that when someone else is hurting, we need to be hurting. And similarly, when someone else is celebrating, that's a celebration for us. And that's a hard madriga, that's a hard place to reach. Because naturally, we think first about ourselves, but it's a really important value. Somebody in my family, somebody in my community, somebody in my country is hurting, we are hurting. So we don't use our phones on Shabbat, we don't watch TV on Shabbat, and right after Shabbat, we all got word of the terrible, terrible tragedy that took place in Pittsburgh, and it took place in a synagogue. It took place in a shul. Most of us were in shul on Shabbat morning. And you expect to go to synagogue, to see people that you care about, to pray with them, celebrate with them, our mitzvah, something else. And you certainly expect to be safe. So today, we're taking time out of our regular program to express our hurt. For Daniel Stein, Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, brothers Cecil and David Rosenthal, husband and wife Bernice and Sylvan Simon, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger, ranging in age from 54 to 97, who went to synagogue this week and didn't come home. And that hurts. But you know, something really powerful about fighting hate with love and breaking down barriers by talking to others. I want to especially single out the students of Atmosphere Academy who just were asked, you don't even know that you were asked, but you were asked yesterday afternoon if you would join. And you came together from your school a mile away to express your solidarity with the Jewish community in Pittsburgh and with the Jewish community in the United States. And that matters. So thank you. It's hard to find the right words to express. It feels like no words do this justice, but it's also inappropriate to be silent. So that's why we're here. And we're also here to remember and to reinforce something that we all know, which is that our words actually matter. The things that we say make a difference. If we say words of kindness and express words of kindness, that matters, and that brings people together. And when we do the opposite, it hurts a little bit, and then it starts to hurt a lot, and we say something that we think we don't really mean so seriously, but guess what? Somebody else hears those words of hate, and they really take them seriously. So we have a Power of Words Day once a year here at SAR. But at moments like these, that message needs to be reinforced. That's something that we can all do. We can remember that our words matter. We can remember that we can use our words to heal the world and to bring people together and to break down barriers and to have conversations even with people that we disagree with. Or we can use our words to express intolerance, to express hatred, to express that maybe we think we're better than someone else. And when you express those things, you start to believe them, or somebody else starts to believe them, and bad things really happen. So I think learning class is really important. And everything we do in class is really important, and we take our time very seriously. But we're here to gather together to remember things that matter a lot. And let's please keep that in mind. We have an SAR parent, Danny Reamer, who comes from Squirrel Hill, and wanted to share with you a couple of minutes about that neighborhood, a famous Jewish neighborhood in Pittsburgh that maybe we're not familiar with, where the Tree of Life Synagogue is located. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Reverend Kraus. I'm Danny Reamer, Eliana Reamer from 5th grade's dad, and I'm from Squirrel Hill, and my parents are from Squirrel Hill, my grandparents are from Squirrel Hill, and my great-grandparents all moved to Squirrel Hill a little over 100 years ago because they were looking for something. They came from Eastern Europe after the First World War. They were looking for community. They were looking for a place to build their families, to build their lives, to lay down roots. And the story of my family in Squirrel Hill is the story of almost every single family in Squirrel Hill, that they have very, very deep roots. When I was growing up there, I was growing up alongside kids who had a very similar story. Their parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents lived in the same neighborhood. And I think that gives you a real sense of what the community is going through right now. Squirrel Hill is known in Pittsburgh as a very Jewish community, even though the Jews don't make up that large of a proportion of the population there, because the Jewish community is really the beating heart of Squirrel Hill. If you go to the main intersection in Squirrel Hill, the JCC sits right there, and the entire community uses the JCC. And on the adjoining blocks, there are kosher stores, Jewish schools, the Jewish charities, and the social services institutions that service the entire Squirrel Hill community. Tree of Life is one of maybe 20 synagogues in Squirrel Hill. Despite the fact that it's not the synagogue where my family belongs and where most of my family's friends pray, when I spoke with my parents after Shabbat, they knew that when the list of victims would come out, that they would know every single one. Because in a community like Squirrel Hill that's really a little village inside a big city, there are no degrees of separation between people. Everybody knows each other, and everybody's parents knew everyone else's parents. Everybody's grandparents knew everyone else's grandparents. Between the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community, it's a very, very tight-knit place. It's in the city of Pittsburgh, but it feels like living in a small village somewhere. And I think that speaks to the Squirrel Hill and the Pittsburgh community's response to this very, very tragic event. When I asked my friend, Rabbi Sammy Weinberg, who's the principal of the Jewish Day School in Pittsburgh this morning, what he wanted people to know, people in New York to know, about the community's response, he said, make sure everybody knows that a few hours after the tragic attack at Tree of Life congregation, everybody came back to shul for afternoon services for mincha. So mincha was packed because people wanted to be together, because it's a community where everybody has always supported each other in good times. And now in a very, very challenging time, with that foundation of togetherness, of community, that's the response, that people are banding together across the entire spectrum of the population. Reverend Truss, I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about the Pittsburgh community. I appreciate the school and Atmosphere Academy coming here to support the greater Jewish community.
Just to explain to our guests, we have another tradition that when we don't have words to express our thoughts, we turn to Psalms, we turn to Tehillim, which are words of hope, words of prayer, words that connect us with our past and reinforce our values. Thank you for joining us in this brief prayer.
Shir Amalo Mimamakim Kartich Adonai.
Shir Amalo Mimamakim Kartich
Adonai. Adonai Shema B'Koli Tienos Nacha Kashuvot L'Kol Tachnunai.
Adonai Shema B'Koli Tienos Nacha Kashuvot L'Kol Tachnunai.
Mimavot Tishmor Ya Adonai Miyamod.
Mimavot Tishmor Ya Adonai Miyamod.
Im Chas Licha Leman Tivarei.
Im Chas Licha Leman Tivarei.
Adonai Kiviti Nafshi Ulevado Chalti.
Kiviti Adonai Kivta Nafshi V'Litvaro Chalti.
Nafshi Adonai Mishramim Laboker Shomrim Laboker.
Nafshi Laboker Shomrim Laboker.
Al Yisrael El Adonai Ki Adonai Chesed V'Arbei Mokedu.
El Yisrael Adonai Ki Adonai Chesed V'Arbei Mokedu.
Yiftet Yisrael Mikol Avonotai.
Yiftet Yisrael Mikol Avonotai.
A song of ascents from the depths I have called you, O Lord. O Lord, hearken to my voice, may your ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications. O God, if you keep a record of iniquities, O Lord, who will stand? For forgiveness is with you in order that you be feared.
I hoped, O Lord, yeah, my soul hoped, and I wait for his word. My soul is to the Lord among those who wait the morning, who those wait until the morning. Israel, hope to the Lord, for kindness is with the Lord, and much redemption is with him. And he will redeem Israel for all of their iniquities.
Hi, for those of you who don't already know me, I'm Miss Dreyer, and one thing that attracted me to SAR to come to teach here was the power of words. And when I was at Brandeis, I had the opportunity to be a slam poet. So in response to what happened, Motzi Shabbos, I wrote a poem that I'm going to share with all of you today. Flags remain at half-staff. United we stand. These colors don't run. Prayer was interrupted by the shot of a gun. Victims screamed, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one." Now the American flag is drenched in bloodstains. What is there left to sustain when a massacre in a synagogue brings such pain? Yet the Star of David remains because of freedom of religion, freedom of the press. Let us not forget life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The dream of democracy for generations Americans have proclaimed. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. God help us, please. This country is under distress. The Justice Department claims that hatred has no place in our society, yet murderers become national icons, while innocent victims turn in their graves, screaming, "My country 'tis of thee, sweet lands of liberty. Will the state of the Union ever be the same, or will we soon forget the victims' names? In their memory, we must stand up for the dream of democracy. The dream of democracy cannot degenerate into physical violence. Break the silence. For justice, for freedom, for change, for love will find a way, because between each bullet shot, between each teardrop, hope remains that not one day, but today, Call of Duty will no longer be a violent video game. It will be our call to change, ammunition into ambition against the abomination of violence that currently plagues this nation. It has for far too long. Flags remain at half-staff. United we stand. These colors don't run. prayer was interrupted by the shot of a gun. Victims screamed, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one."
Mr. Glazer pointed out that the name of the synagogue, Tree of Life, in Hebrew, Eitz Chaim, something that we say every time we take out the Torah. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba. The Torah is a tree of life to those who hold on to it. And today is a day as we remember those whose lives were lost, that we hold on to life, that we celebrate life, that we bring a little bit more love and light to the world. After we conclude with the singing of our national anthem, we ask everyone to return to their regular classes. There'll be an opportunity for you to express in words your condolences with members of the Squirrel Hill community. Please rise. Before you leave, I want to remind everybody, if you remain standing, it's okay. There's no question that what happened is frightening. We think about what it means for us. I would like you all to know that we are surrounded by people whose job it is to protect us and do a great job protecting us. Whether it's our school security guards or the local police departments who have reached out to us to make sure that we know that they're on top of every potential situation. Of course, we have to be vigilant. If we see something, we should be saying something. But we are all very thankful for the safety and security that we continue to have in this country each and every day. Thank you.